here. He says Jeffy Halloween is coming. Is Gabbana Games planning anything special? You goddamn right. We're doing a Halloween special this year. Listen to this. Gabbana Games' first ever Halloween virtual Zoom seance is coming up October 28th. Very fortunate to have my pal Rachel R.H. Stavis as our medium. She's the real deal, and she's here for Gabbana Game members coming up in just a handful of days. Members can come to the actual seance virtually as well.
So, you know, if you're sad, you're depressed. If you're depressed, you're suicidal. If you have anger, you have rage.
I hope to see you there on the show, the 28th or the 30th for the interview. Be well. See you soon. Well, there you go. There you go. Fellas, welcome to Gabbana Games. That was an edit of our very own JoJo D touting the Halloween seance coming up here on Gabbana Games. It will be for members only to attend live. To watch live, and if you want to actually be part of it, hit me up in the Discord. I've got 9 seats currently open that you can sit and talk directly to the psychic medium, and then it'll be free for everybody on October 31st on Halloween Day to watch at your leisure. But that was JoJo D cut that together. I appreciate it, buddy. Looks fucking great. Looks fucking great. See what the chat's doing. Will Sony have a state of play before the new year, says Master Millions TV. Do they need to? I mean, at this point, do they really need to? They're rolling into the holidays with God of War Ragnarok. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit later in the show about the impressions of that very title that have been starting to hit. That have been starting. I got myself an English degree that have started to hit the net. Besides that, they've got. I know on PC they've got the Uncharted collection. Didn't they just put something out that was sort of the Last of Us 1 remaster? I don't think so. I think maybe they'll wait until January to get into what's coming in the new year. So I don't think we're going to see a state of play. I think that ship has sailed for Sony this year. I could be wrong, but you know, the fuck do I know? Rob the Mod just killed 69 Girls XYZ. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for getting rid of those hooligans in our chat. Can you give us a hint on the horror game you're making, says Zinni? Well, no, because I'm not even sure if we're making it. All I'm doing right now is I'm trying to do some design work for this company. They seem to be really excited about making a horror game with me. I'm very excited about making one with them. I'm trying to figure out, can I make the time to do what I love, which is that, but also this. And so far, it's been a real challenge, and we'll see where things go. What I can tell you is, here's what I can tell you. This is exactly what I can tell you. And this will give you a little bit of, I don't know, hint. When I start game development, I always look at other games, right? So as I've said before, God of War was built on the bones of Onimusha, Ico, and Devil May Cry, obviously. You know, I didn't do that when I first started in my career, and it was very hard because I would start with the concept and like, what game do I wrap around this fucking thing? It was a nightmare. So the 2 games I'm looking at right now, one of them is Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake as a template. The game will be nothing like that in the same way that Ico is nothing like God of War, but it's that sort of genre I'm looking at as a base, right? The other one I'm looking at as a base is something more like the game Madison that came out this year, where you have the camera. It's not like Fatal Frame in terms of Madison, but it's got a camera theme, and it's more of a walking sim horror puzzler. So it's one of those 2 that I'm using to sort of flesh out some of these ideas I have. So that's all I can tell you at the moment. We will be talking about horror games the first part of this show today, because horror is in full bloom, not just because it's Halloween, but the industry seems to have discovered both indie and AAA. Hey, people like this shit. They sure do. They goddamn sure do. Will I get a review copy? Hello, Jarvie Rocks. Will I get a review copy of Ragnarok? I don't think so. I mean, when I how do I put this? And again, we'll talk about God of War impressions. When Sony was making the first God of War 2018, Shannon was still there. I probably hadn't pissed as many people off. I don't know if I've pissed people off. I'm speculating. I'm assuming I have. Most of my contacts there that would feel the desire to send me a copy because, hey, Jaffe, here, whether it's a finished copy or a review copy, I think most of those guys are gone. So my guess is I won't be getting a free copy or a review copy, which is fine. I don't care. I mean, I would love to get a free copy, but I'm not going to go out of my way to ask for one. If they think I deserve one and they want to send me one, great. If not, I'm happy to buy it. It looks really, really good. It's a little expensive, for DLC, but hey, hang on. Oh, hello, Jimmy Fallon. I am funny. No, I will not come on your Tonight Show. Fucking asshole. Do I have respect for Corey? Yeah, of course. Corey's great. Although Corey didn't direct this, I have massive respect as well for Eric Williams. So, all right. Okay. Gravedoll says that was a good bit. Thanks, man. All right. Let's get to some news, man. Let's talk about what's happening in the world that we love, the world of the video games. Well, let me tell you what I've been playing first. I got to shout to the moon on this goddamn thing. I love Ben Brode because he was the lead of Hearthstone, creator of Hearthstone with the team, of course. And that's probably my top 2 favorite games of all time. Along with the Game of the Year 2022 winner, Elden Ring. Those 2 jockey for position of first. What I will tell you is, so Ben Brode leaves Blizzard, starts a company called Second Dinner. Their first game has been kind of in various closed alpha-ish for a while. It is now in full release on mobile games and the early access, which is basically the phone version of the game. Hopefully, it sounds like they're going to have a brand new interface for PC and stuff, but currently right now it's in early access for PC. All I can fucking tell you is, my God, it is great. Now, I did do a tweet originally talking about the microtransactions and how grindy it was and all this stuff. And a lot of that, I'm not saying that's not going to ultimately become the case, but that's not the case. I made another follow-up video about that because they don't do a lot of explaining of their systems in the game. And in that, what I thought was a grind was simply me not understanding how the acquiring card system worked. Now that I understand it, I say, oh, okay. I don't know if this will be grindy, but right now it's too early to tell. But assuming, that aside, I don't think I have ever played a game as addictive in my life. So Ravno says, snap, Hearthstone, but more greedy and less deep. Well, so far it's not more greedy. You may be right. It may become substantially greedy, but right now it's not. As for being less deep, I can't answer that yet. What I can tell you is it's very easy to play. It's easy to understand. It has a lot of interesting synergy so far. And I'm every couple of rounds, I'm like, oh my God, I get it. Now, is that going to grow and build? We hope so. They did it with Hearthstone. But I can just tell you it is fast and fun and addictive, almost to the point that it's just like, it's manufactured addiction. And I don't mean that at a monetary level, like a Skinner box, like, a lot of the cell phone games. I mean that at a core game loop. Because the games go so fast. You're playing like 3-minute rounds and it's like, oh, fuck it, give me another one. It's great. It's fucking great. Gravedoll, been a member for 16 months. Thank you, buddy. Hopefully we will see you at the seance, my good sir. He says, swapping decks with buds and explaining them reminds me of recess days in the playground. I don't understand your microtransaction beef. Well, as I just explained it, but yeah, it's fucking great. People are asking me what level I'm on. So the highest level I've been is 35, but I've started dropping to about 25 because I've been trying to learn the synergy. And in some of the cards aren't worded as well as Hearthstone. It's clearly like a first pass at sort of using the English language, using prose to explain how the cards work. So I'll place a card at a certain position and think it does something, but it does it somewhere else. So I've kind of just given up my rank right now just to learn the cards, but it's great. It's fucking great. I want to welcome our newest God of War member, not God of War member, I'm sorry, but just as important, Cam W. Cam W drops by, says, Jaffe, I want to be part of this. I want to stick anal beads up my butthole and win chess matches. If you don't know what I'm referring to, shame on you. You're not worldly enough. But Cam W, here's the smoke of the pipe. It's got love. It's got fecal paste. And of course, it has a little bit of beard trimmings from the quartering. That's up to you. I'm not going to determine whether that's a good or a bad thing. Let's smoke together, sir. Ah, delightful, delightful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for supporting this crazy dream. And thank you for being so generous. And thank you for being a member. It's good to see you, buddy. Jaffe says Spectre Bowl. Oh, I got to get back to you on some editing stuff. I'm sorry, Spectre Bowl. I will get back to you this week. I've just made some adjustments in terms of, it doesn't matter. I won't bore you and me, but I won't bore the audience. I'll tell you later. But Adderall's kicking in, folks. Actually, Ritalin. Jaffe, did you read the Washington Post article about G4's management? No. A link, please. Check and link, please. Yeah, send me a link in the Discord. I would love to talk about that, maybe even today on the show. How many one-cost cards do you keep in your deck of... we're going to move on from Marvel Snap if it's not your cup of tea. Don't worry, we're going to be getting into the big games in just a second. How many one-cost cards do you keep in your deck? It depends. I have a deck that is just super reckless that I don't remember what I call it. And it's me playing around. And in that deck, I probably have about maybe about 60% of the cards are one-cost cards. And I've built the higher cost cards to synergize the one-cost cards. And so far, it seems to be working pretty fucking well. But, you know, who's to say? What I will say, the last thing I'll say, and I'll move on, is that Marvel Snap is the first collectible card game where I've enjoyed building different decks and playing different decks. In Hearthstone, I just kind of jumped directly in to the Hunter. And I've played the Hunter for 5-6 years. And that's pretty much all I play unless I have to get some mission or something. With Marvel Snap, because you don't have a character and the building a deck is literally just 12 cards, so it goes super fast. I'm finding myself also really enjoying fucking around with trying shit out and whatnot. So it's fucking great. It's fucking great. Sebastian Cooper says, oh, okay, there it is. Thank you, Spectrable. Sebastian Cooper says, hey, Jaffe, I have a question for you. Recently, I got invited to a new big AAA game, NDA. Oh, to try a new AAA. God damn it. Sebastian got invited to try a new big AAA game. There was an NDA, but for some reason, when I start the game, it just has my Xbox ID written across the screen over. Well, is the game working? I'm assuming what's happening is that they put that there. So the last one I saw do that was Hyenas, the Sega multiplayer game. I'm in that alpha, but I played it for 5 minutes and never went back. But they will put that there. So if you leak it or if you put video out, they'll know, oh, that came from Sebastian. So is it normal? I wouldn't say it's typical, but it is slowly becoming a thing that I am seeing. Absolutely. Okay. A cab says God of War will win game of the century if we're lucky. We will talk about that in just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's move on. So here's what has been getting in the way. Marvel Snap has been getting in the way of me jumping into this. I bought this game digitally early because I wanted to play and I wanted to stream the Call of Duty campaign, Modern Warfare 2. I hear it is really good. It is one of the best campaigns ever. I think GameSpot, I know GameSpot, they gave it an 8 out of 10, just the campaign, not the game. The game's not available yet to play the whole package. They said the worst part is there's some weird save point locations that make for difficult respawns. The good, a perfect dose of nostalgia while still telling a fresh story, more player choice and open world style moments, and a great looking blockbuster, which is exactly what I wanted. There's a point that I'm kind of getting to with games lately that makes me go, I'm kind of getting tired of like, I love what Sony's doing. I love what they've brought to the industry, and no one does it better in terms of these sort of really well written, deep and angsty and kind of almost like Oscar bait. And I say that respectfully. Movies do the same thing. Around December, they start releasing the movies that, you know, become, you know, they get lauded for their acting and all this shit and the story and the script. And they're not always as commercial. But lately, I've seen a trend because we are absolutely lousy with games right now in terms of release schedule. Whether it's Callisto coming out, Call of Duty, Marvel Midnight Suns, I think there's like 3 or 4 others that are just embracing being blockbusters. And they're not trying to be overly emotional, and they don't want to be artistic, or if they do, that's not on their sleeve. As a guy who loves summer blockbusters and still loves, you know, Oscar bait movies, it's nice to see some of the single player games pivoting back to sort of something that's just good blockbuster fun. I'm excited for that. Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3 is coming out this week. Good God, are we lousy with games. Bayonetta 3, which I'm very much looking forward to. I expect it to be very good. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show in terms of what's happening over there. Excuse me. Controller Sport says $70 for a 6-hour campaign. No thanks. I don't know which game you're talking about. Yeah, Resident Evil. Fucking Resident Evil Remake 4. I just got done playing Resident Evil Remake 3. Obviously, there's going to be the DLC on the Gold Edition of Village. That comes out in a week. Is it October 28th or something? And then, you know, so I'm glad to have more of those sorts of titles out there instead of every single player game trying to just emote all over the goddamn monitor. But yeah, so Controller Sports comes in and says $70 for a 6-hour campaign. No thanks. That's fine. I mean, if you break down the numbers, $70, 6 hours, you're talking at about what, $12 for an hour of entertainment. And it's pricey. Again, Call of Duty isn't $70 just for the campaign. I do like the multiplayer, but I bought it mainly for the campaign, and the multiplayer beta was pretty fucking good, actually. But there are times I will spend that money. I am more than happy to spend that money on a single player game because I can afford it, and I love games like that. So yeah, well, you're right. Jimmy Gilchrist says he could pirate it for free, right? I don't know about that, Eddie T. I heard a lot of people tell me that, and that's why I avoided playing Resident Evil 3 Remake for so long. I loved RE2 Remake. Eddie says Resident Evil 3 Remake will always be the one they drop the ball on. I heard, and PG says, yeah, they messed up with RE3. I've heard people say that, but when I played it, I was just like, what are people talking about? It's really good. The thing I'll tell you is I didn't play Resident Evil 3 on the PlayStation 1 or 2. I forget where Nemesis came out. I think it was a PS1 title. So the people who were out there saying it's missing a lot from the original, I can understand the criticisms at that level. But that's not, you know, I didn't come to it for that. I came to it like I'd never played it before, and it was fucking great. But sure, I liked how fast it was, how short it was. Realism says the Resident Evil 3 ugly lead killed the game. Are we really going to talk about that? Are you out of your fucking mind? I mean, look, I don't want to tell you don't have any taste, but you know, you don't have any taste. I'm going to bring her up real quick. I don't think she gives who is it? Claire in RE2 Remake a run for her money, but Jill Valentine in the remake? Come on now. Come on now. Come on. What are you talking about? Let me put this up on the screen for you to see. What in the world are you going on about? Somebody done hit you in the head and you ain't woke up yet. Look at this woman. What are you talking about? What are you fucking talking about? Come on now. Make that big. Come on. Not that. He's silly. Come on now. Anyway, I say there's no accounting for taste. The playtime for Ragnarok, Elaine, I heard the playtime for Ragnarok is somebody who played it said that it was 40 hours if you do everything and 20 hours if you just go through the story. So is that true? I don't fucking know. One more thing to tell you. I mean, this is tough. I mean, this is tough because let's assume you have all the money in the world. Let's put it this way. I have a decent amount of budget to buy video games for the show and for my own love of the hobby. It's not about the money at this point for me. It's about the fact that I cannot fucking make the time to play near anything and everything. I want to play. I'm playing Snap, so I can't play Modern Warfare. What's going to happen when Midnight Suns comes around? When am I going to play Ragnarok? When am I going to finish Elden Ring? Then this drops. Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope comes out. 86 Metacritic. They say it's better than the first, and they say it's just great on its own. Now, the user score is a little lower, 80 versus 86, but still. Yeah, Brett Moore says my backlog has a backlog. Abso-fucking-lutely. And Callisto. A Cab says, what about Callisto? Callisto. My goodness gracious. It's just, I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's almost like, what the fuck is happening? How do you do it? How do you do it? I need to clone myself. I haven't even started playing Plague Tale. Haven't finished Scorn. Grape King, I'm with you. Marvel Snap has consumed all my time. I did Olba Penidlos. I did finish RE3, yes. Did Sony really let you buy all the games you wanted? Yeah, I mean, that's a question from Jimmy Gilchrist. We had a credit card, at least at a certain level, and all the games that were in production had been given a research budget. And, when you're at that level and your monthly research budget for a game might be anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 a month, you don't ever even fucking think about it. It's not, you don't hit that ceiling. Poor Form says CR3D from the chat. He's been a member for quite some time. He knows I appreciate it, even though he's a big fucking conservative asshole. Poor Form, he says, bragging about how much you're worth, meaning countless people are suffering from this economic recession. I didn't say it was worth a lot of money. I said that right now buying video games doesn't really break the bank for me. And if I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't be able to get to them. I don't have all the money in the world, and I still can't get to what I bought already. A Cab says for research purposes, putting research in quotes like I'm, what are you talking about? No, every game you play, you get something out of. Hey, Bill Bones is back. Bill Bones got banned for some reason, and I tried to fix it for him. I didn't understand because he's always a good dude, unless he did something I didn't see, and I'm glad you're back, buddy. Did I like working at Sony? I loved working at Sony. Absolutely. It was a great place, great company, great people. Okay. Here's some good news. Somebody was asking, hey, Marco's been a member for 3 months. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. He wants us to know that his favorite drink is water. My dad's that way, or he was. He's dead now. But a lot of people love water. I saw this thing on YouTube yesterday. It is a water dispenser that makes water out of the air. I mean, I know that's where water molecules are, but I've never seen a dispenser that actually sucks in the air like a humidifier and takes the good nutrients and turns it into a goddamn glass of water. That shit's crazy. That shit's crazy. Oh yeah, and Pentiment is coming out, Cam. That's right. God damn, there's too much. There's too much. All right, let's move on. Okay, I want to tell you about this. Callisto Protocol has gone gold. This is great news. Callisto Protocol went gold. It's coming out December 2nd. It is on track. I will absolutely be done with Ragnarok unless I hate it in time to play this great thing. The thing I was a little surprised about, this is the team picture. If you're not looking, if you're listening, it's a team of about, the guys over at Striking Distance, it's a team of about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a team of about 120 in this picture, roughly, maybe. That's going to be a hell. I mean, I'm sure they must outsourced stuff because that's pretty small for a team. I'm going to reach out to Glenn Schofield, who I've talked to a couple of times online. He says he's been busy crunching on not crunching, but you know what I mean. He did. It's a long story, but the point is, though, now that he's gone gold, hopefully he'll be able to come on the show and chat with us about this great game. Looking forward to it. But yeah, no, it gives them 2 months to work on the day one patch, assuming that there will be a day one patch, as there always is, and frankly, as there always should be. Why would you not want the team to take as much extra time as they can to get the work done and make it even better? So I'm looking forward to it. Callisto Protocol coming out. It's going to be back-to-back-to-back bangers, baby. I don't know if this one will be up there for Game of the Year, but it looks great so far every single time they've shown it. We will talk a little bit later about some Microsoft stuff. I'm kind of getting tired of talking about the Microsoft acquisition. There's some interest. Hey, who's this calling? Let's find out together, shall we? Hello? Is this Melvin? Oh, Calvin. Well, this is Calvin's dad. Who's this?
I'm with Amazon. I'm currently at
All right. Sorry about that, fellas. All right. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Okay. So anyway, though, here's what's come out recently. In some of the responses that Microsoft has said to the European regulatory board, blah, blah, blah. But this one's interesting. This will interest Sony fans. In the revelations that have come out, they let it not slip, but they said, hey, look, we're under the impression Wolverine was coming out in 2023. I know a number of people on the Wolverine team, some of which watch this very stream, some of which may watch it right now. But I can't really talk to them about it, of course. But this is good news if it's happening. We know Spider-Man 2 is coming out in 2023. That would be a hell of a 1-2 punch if Spidey and Wolverine drop next year. That would be a great February. I can't imagine this will be out in 2023. I can't imagine this will be out in 2023. Here is Tech for Gamers says Microsoft claim that the game will be released in 2023 was made during a regulatory filing like we just talked about. Discussing Sony's market position, this is where they got the information from. Microsoft says, hey, PlayStation also has a spate of first and third-party exclusives lined up for launch in 2023, including Spidey, Wolverine, Horizon, Final Fantasy 26, and Forspoken. So maybe they just threw Wolverine in there. Wolverine, it's hard to believe that'll be coming out, but I do believe Spidey will be coming out 2022. We'll see, though. Could be a hell of a Marvel year for fans like us, who, if you love the Marvel. Okay, letting you know. Listen to this. Did you see this yesterday or 2 days ago? I mean, this is interesting. They've pulled it, but Sony the other day tweeted out their social media account, tweeted out a image of a very close-up shot. It must have been about 40 pixels of one of their video game covers. And I forget what the text was. It was something like, can you see it? Which PlayStation game cover are we zooming in on? Well, now there's the text right there. It was very clear that it was Bloodborne. And people at first were like, holy shit, Bloodborne is coming. Bloodborne is coming. This is going to happen. But then the tweet was deleted. So maybe it was just social media fucking around and didn't realize it was going to cause the kind of brouhaha. Or maybe they were really going, hey, we're dropping a hint, but we dropped it too soon. I don't fucking know. Fuck you, Ravenous. You wouldn't be saying you're falling asleep if you actually had the fucking ability and fortitude to play and finish this fucking game. This is one of the best games ever made, motherfucker. It is great. And you're sleeping on it. That's because you're old. I'm old, but I pushed through. I got it done. Yeah, no, Jimmy Gilchrist says, well, the issue is that somebody was, is an intern who fucked up. It may be. You don't know that. I don't know that. It was definitely a fuck up. Whether they fucked up because they didn't read the room well enough to know that this is not something that's going to go down well, especially given that Sony has made the brilliant PS5 Demon's Souls from Bluepoint, which was a remake, of course, remaster, remake kind of mix. Of course, people are expecting and wanting Bloodborne. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But whether it was a mistake or whether the mistake was just releasing the information early, I don't know. Ravnos, I haven't finished Elden Ring, but I've gotten really far. I just haven't had the time. It's not like it's too hard for me. I've been playing a lot of other things. Trust me, I'll fucking finish it. I'll fucking finish it. Goddamn son of a bitch. Okay. Oh, and that's right. Juan Garcia says, don't forget Insomniac's working on Miles Morales that comes out this year, but they worked on Miles, Ratchet, and Rift Apart. They came out 5 months, 6 months apart. Yeah, but to be fair, Ratchet was done in North Carolina studio, and Miles was done here in Burbank, and Burbank was built on the bones of Spider-Man, which had already shipped. So I'm not saying they aren't capable of having two teams that are that close to completion in the same studio, but in the case of Ratchet and Miles, I don't think it's an accurate assessment. Let's talk about, you goddamn right, Ravnos. I accept your apology. He says, Bloodborne is harder. I will give you that. I accept your apology and your acknowledgement that I am the greatest. Thank you, sir, for that. Okay. So this is interesting. I came, now look, you guys know, smashy, smashy, smash, smash. You guys know. That I was ready, not even ready to dislike Gotham Knights. Everything that they had shown for Gotham Knights had been really underwhelming, except the visuals. I think it's hard to look at Gotham Knights. I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's not next gen. I think Gotham Knights looks fantastic. Do with that data, do with that what you will. But I think it looks fucking fantastic. And the combat animations look really fun. Okay. But that aside, everything I had seen about the gameplay and the interviews I had read with the game director and on and on, I was like, somebody had mentioned in the chat, this looks like a great, Black Friday game. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. That totally sounds good. Black Friday, get it for $29. Maybe that works. And then the reviews hit. And before I read the text of the reviews, I was really ready to write this off as a piece of shit, of just a total misfire. But now after reading, so it's sitting right now at 69 Metacritic. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. This is not going to be a loved game, and it may go down as sort of just like a piece of shit for a lot of people. Ricardo says, I'm playing Plague Tale. Thank you for being a member for all those months, buddy. I appreciate it. He says, I bought Gotham Knights and Ragnarok's coming soon. I'm going to move to a cabin in the woods and play for 2 months. I may have to not join you, but I'll get a cabin next door, because if we joined in the same cabin, people would talk, and you know how they are. But if you read the reviews, it's actually quite interesting. I'll read you some of the best reviews. This is from Gamer. I'm not going to read you the choice clips. Gotham Knights says Gamer Heroes gave it a 95. This is a little ridiculous. Gotham Knights is up there with Elden Ring as a Game of the Year contender. Its fast, responsive, and action-packed combat is surpassed only by a narrative that had me glued from the very first cutscene. Okay, I call horseshit Gamer Heroes. GameSpew says the combat gets a little messy, but it's hard. They gave it a 90. Gameplay gets a little messy, combat, but it's hard to truly find fault in Gotham Knights. It's an immensely enjoyable adventure from beginning to end, with lots to offer Batman fans, even though they don't get to play as the Caped Crusader. Don't let the lack of a performance mode put you off. With stunning visuals, varied gameplay, and great online co-op, Gotham Knights is one of the best games of the year. COG Connected gave it an 86. Gotham Knights is bold and brave. While the combat differs from Arkham, it's still a brilliant system that successfully evolves the formula with performance-based abilities. Some missions are repetitive and traversal lacks the speed and ferocity of combat. However, the game is a joy to play and perfectly captures the birth and growth of a new band of bats. The city where games take place is full of big corporations, criminals, many secrets. If you're a fan of open world games and of superhero games, Gotham Knights deserves a chance. So there's a lot of things that, PlayStation Universe gave it an 80. Gotham Knights combat may be stripped down, but it still provides some of the best melee combat in the genre. And then even this is like a 70 from or a 70 from Gry Online. It is impossible to deny the game is a spectacular adventure in the world of DC heroes, with fast-paced action, engaging storyline that can be experienced while playing together with friends. And just not every hero wears a cape. Not every game has to be an overnight, complex, challenging experience or a candidate for Game of the Year. Sometimes this mediocrity, casualness, or in other words, accessibility for everyone is enough to simply provide a bit of fun. So it does seem to be, even Games Radar gave it a 50, a 5 out of 10. They said there's a compelling game in Gotham Knights, but it's hidden away behind a messy UX, needless crafting and customization systems and combat mechanics that seems to have been stretched thin to accommodate 4 heroes. And then you get to the big boys. Gotham Knights got a 4 from our good pals over at GameSpot. Character interactions are great. Co-op play is great, but they don't like the loot grind. The combat doesn't evolve. Too few bosses. Fails to use the Court of Owls storyline. Well, leveling up demands too many mindless street crimes. And I think it got a 5 over on IGN. They called it mediocre. Gotham Knights is consistently disappointing return to Batman's troubled city and a distinct step backwards from the past decade plus of Batman games. Even if running around Gotham in 2-player co-op can be decent fun and each of the 4-player crime fighters are well executed in their dialogue and distinctive moves, too many of the fundamentals fall short for me to recommend it. For the inconsistent frame rates, to the weak story, to one-note combat that rarely feels good, there was virtually always something going wrong to make sure I wasn't experiencing the triumphant return of my friends at my side as I had envisioned. So the point of this, of bringing all this up, is this is now kind of sort of on my radar. I was ready to write it off, especially when I just saw the numbers. But now that I see this and now that I read this, I go, okay, I don't believe the glowing bullshit. There's no way in fucking God's green earth that this is a game of the year contender. I mean, it's possible, but I certainly doubt it. But the people saying, yeah, it's kind of got problems. It's not perfect. It's kind of laggy and this and that, whatever. But there seems to be something there that's worthy. And as somebody who loves just the medium in general, I'm and I love DC. I'm actually quite interested to try this now. So I don't know if that's changes anybody's view, or actually hearing the reviews and not just looking at the numbers changes anyone's thoughts on this. But for me, it absolutely did. And I wanted to bring it up because, you know, I'll be playing it and I'll be streaming it, but I'm not paying $70 for it. I'm not paying $70 for it. I'm definitely going to wait and give it a Black Friday sale pickup. Reviews are all over the place, almost as if art is subjective, says Controller Sports. Right. But in video games, that's rarer than other mediums, I find. In video games, it tends to be groupthink. It's nice to see a game like this come out and be like, I mean, we kind of saw it with Scorn last week, too. It's like some people really vibed with it and some people thought it was terrible. Game does look beautiful, says JT, not on my radar, but maybe someday. Sir Nick says Arkham Knight is better than Gotham Knights in every way. Sure. But again, I mean, people out there that are talking about, oh, there's no stealth. Good for me. I don't want to fucking play stealth. I know a lot of people love that, but that's what I got bored of in the Batman games. I know you don't have to play stealth, but I don't like stealth games for the most part. Not always, but for the most part. So I'm actually excited that this is more of a, you know, brawler adventurer. But, you know, I still may hate it. I don't fucking know. Some of you guys are saying $30 seems to be the sweet spot. Okay. There is stealth, says Ravnos. Oh, some of the things said there wasn't, but some of the reviews said there wasn't any stealth. Maybe they just didn't play it that way. Stealth is boring. Yeah, I agree. Origins is better than Gotham Knights, says Gnawdog. I haven't played Gotham Knights yet. Here's what I would tell you. You know, it's fun to bag on stuff. I don't know why, but it is. And I bagged on this, and I will continue to bag on it if it's a piece of shit that it looked like before I read these reviews. But when you can kind of take that fun aside and go, do you love the medium? Are you interested in game design? Are you interested in people doing things that are compelling, even if it's surrounded by a lot of bad decisions and crap? It might be worth your time. I think you have to be careful not to write things off just because it's the equivalent of going on a date with someone and they're not your picture perfect version of your ultimate, you know, spouse, whatever. I'm trying to talk non-binary. But you go on a couple of dates and you're like, yeah, there's something here, something interesting. Yeah, they don't look like the supermodel I went out with a month ago, but I really like kind of hanging out with this person. Think about it. Estevan says, I'll tell you what, my 15-year-old would go nuts with Gotham Knights. Have you shown them Gotham Knights yet? Jafari says, that's what I have decided too after watching the reviews, but I'm not expecting much. No, I hear you. It has issues like any game to be a live service, as Rav knows, like Avengers. Well, Avengers I really liked, but I didn't, the single player, but it got really repetitive, really fucking quick. And that's where I walked away from it. I loved the combat, but I couldn't handle just beating up robots every 5 fucking seconds. So, okay, let's move the fuck on, shall we? Let's move the fuck on because we have things to do and people to do them with. Take a break and take a little bit of my drink. I'm not a boomer, Steffi. Steffi says this game isn't for us boomers that played all the Arkham games. I played some of the Arkham games. I didn't love them. So maybe that's why this seems a little bit more appealing. God, I need that. I need that. That's like Bradley Cooper in Limitless, except when I drink the Diet Coke, none of those good things happen. But it feels good for a moment. Okay. What are we talking about? Let's move the fuck on. Hey, let's talk horror. It has been a hell of a week if you love video game horror. I want to talk first about the Resident Evil showcase, which I thought was fantastic. There's a members only video up right now here on YouTube where I dive deep into it if you're into such nonsense. But I want to talk briefly about Resident Evil. And then I want to talk a little bit with a pal of mine, soon to be possibly a pal of yours, about Silent Hill. But we did have a lot of fun, cool news dropping this week. So let's just play this while we're waiting. I'm going to turn the volume down. Maybe it won't play. There we go. So you may have watched this. If not, you can see it on whatever. But they showed a couple of things coming out this week. You will be getting, or next week you'll be getting. Next week, it's the 28th. Resident Evil Village is getting the gold version that comes with the third person mode, which I played the other day. It's a demo. You can play the first hour right now. It's really weird. I didn't like it. I had absolutely no problem playing the RE1 and 2 and 3 remakes. I thought those were fucking fantastic. But I could not get into the over-the-shoulder version of this. And I don't know why that is. It's very strange. Like, it made me a little queasy. I don't know if the frame rate's not totally locked in yet or whatever. The one I'm excited about, though, that comes with gold is the his daughter, Ethan Winter's daughter, who was a baby at the end of RE Village, gets DLC. I don't know how long it is, but it's a totally standalone story of his daughter. She's got, looks like a cool supernatural magic power thing on her hand that lets her attack enemies and communicate with the dead. That looks really cool. I'm very excited to play that. That will be coming out in a couple of weeks. It also has, I believe this is the one, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Gaffy says, I will say the RE8 third person mode is janky. Right. I agree. There was something about it that I couldn't quite, really vibe with. And again, you can play that demo right now, but I think Reverse is not coming with RE4 remake, right? Reverse is launching with, gold, I believe. And I know there's kind of two of these fucking things. There's like Mercenaries and there's Reverse. My understanding is, I talked to Spaz the other day, Reverse is the one where you play humans, and if you die, you come back as a monster, and then you can respawn as a human or something. I don't fucking know. But the point is, he played it. He said it was really fucking good. And I'm looking forward to it. There is a demo starting tomorrow. I got the times wrong for a variety of reasons, but I will be playing this. You can get the demo if you own Village. Just go to your page on the store, wherever you bought Village, and you can basically pick it up there. This will be coming out a little bit later, but the demo is this weekend, starting this weekend. So if anybody wants to go online and play us, and then remember, let me know. We'll set up a game night to play this either tomorrow night or Monday night. I'm looking forward to it. It looks pretty good. So they showed off Reverse, which was pretty fucking cool. And then they also spent a little time talking about RE4 remake, which, I mean, come the cockadoodie fuck on. Let me put on RE4 while I'm telling you about it a little bit, only because you can watch the showcase if you want to see a lot of details and shit. But I will tell you, what was neat about it is, IGN went hands-on with it, and I hadn't seen anybody go hands-on. So I want to talk a little bit about what they actually experienced when they played the game. Let me tell you what they said. This is from IGN, and it is from Dale Driver of the, I think, Colorado Drivers. He's the one good thing to emerge from that family. Old lady driver, boy, that vagina must be haunted, because anything that comes out of it's a goddamn nightmare. But Dale's a good boy. Always has been, probably always will be. He wrote this for us. He says, during my play session, which began at the very start of the game and concluded after the village onslaught. If you don't know, everybody's played Resident Evil 4, but you get out of a car, they say, go get the president's daughter. So, okay. You go into this path and all this shit, and you come upon a village and there's zombies in the village. That's how it starts. That's always started. It's Brett Moore says IGN said all good things. Yeah, it's less about, though, them praising it, more about some of the interesting specifics. During my play session, he says, which began at the very start of the game and concluded after the village onslaught, everything felt equal parts incredibly familiar and unsettlingly different. That I love. I love that it's an homage, but it's also a refresh. The sequence of events was almost identical, but the graphic and design improvements made locations feel noticeably more lived in, claustrophobic, and haunting to explore. Despite my experience with the original, which many people have, I still found myself nervously tiptoeing around every corner, not sure what would happen. And this is why. He says, fans of the original will fondly remember the opening chapter's unfortunate dog trapped in a bear trap, and how the game gave you the option to release the dog. You may also remember that the dog returned triumphantly if you saved him when he assists Leon to defeat El Gigante. I don't know how you say it, the big giant guy. I didn't even see the dog because I killed the guy with a rocket launcher in one hit. This time around, though, the dog is still there, but he's already dead. Did I not reach him in time? Or was there a signifier of the noticeable shift towards a darker tone for the remake? Either way, this brief moment laid the groundwork for a game that is not necessarily going the way expected. Yes?
I'm going to bring your cards to place. I can't.
All right. Sorry, my kid's going to a Halloween party. I had to make sure he was all set to go. But anyway, yeah, so he's basically saying that even at the very beginning, and I'm going to give you some more examples, there were a lot of little slight twerks and tweaks to it that was like, okay, this is not, you're not going to get exactly what this is. You're not going to know it because you've played it. I played it on Steam. I played it on PlayStation 4, and I played it in VR. And they're like, there's a lot of things that have changed, but they're not on the nose. So it actually makes it a little scarier if you go in with some familiarity. Capcom is controlling Leon, they say, still feels exactly like you'd expect. And he even maintained some of his iconic moves from the original. It was only a matter of seconds before I instinctively began shooting at kneecaps and lining up roundhouse kicks, knocking down anyone in proximity. The muscle memory instantly kicked in. But that's not to say combat doesn't have new inclusions. Beyond the expected update to aiming that now allows you to move, which we talked about this ages ago. It is interesting that we were like, some of the horror of RE4 came from the fact that if he aimed, he stopped, if I remember. You couldn't move and aim. And the minute they offered that, was it going to hurt the horror? But it didn't in 2 and 3 remake. It clearly doesn't here. He says there's also light stealth gameplay. It wasn't particularly advertised to me through tutorial, but with the addition of a crouch button, it became apparent that I could avoid attention of nearby Garnados, is that the zombies, by silently creeping my way around the village, gathering resources before the onslaught began. You can also now perform stealth attacks from behind on the unsuspecting locals with your trusty knife. Don't suspect stealth will play a huge part, but it's great to have the variety. He also now has a light parry system with the knife, being able to resist or deflect attacks with a well-timed button press, including against the chainsaw. I did hear the knife might be like in Breath of the Wild. It may get damaged over time and you may have to repair it, but I'm not entirely I'm not entirely sure if that's been verified. They're making a PS4 version of this update, Brett Moore. Brett Moore says, I was surprised they're making a PS4 version of this too. Oh, cool. The gaps between homes in the village are smaller. The area is tighter. It feels overwhelming in the best possible way. The chainsaw guy, I didn't know he had a name, Dr. Salvador, can now destroy wooden structures to block your paths. Enemies will flank you from every corner, and some even grab and hold you from behind to let the fellow enemies attack you in the front. There were still plenty of surprises to be had. Climbing up to the bell tower, for example, no longer leads to a safe space in the village because the floor collapses beneath you. And the previously static cow observing all the chaos can now be spurred into action should its barn unfortunately catch on fire. Despite the cow catching on fire, running past being upsetting, I can't say it wasn't useful when it came to distracting the zombies. So I'm excited and I'm interested because it sounds like there's going to be enough changes that it's going to keep you on your toes. And it just looks, it just fucking looks phenomenal. Random Moosebrain says the tower was never a safe space. It may not have been a safe space, but you could go up there with a sniper rifle and take guys out for a while. I never noticed that there were fire bombs, but maybe I was just really good and shot the guys. But now the floor is going to collapse. I guess I can't do that anymore. Enter the Codverse says the knife does have a strength meter. Presumably pairing the chainsaw will break it instantly, and you'll have to go without it until you repair it. Yeah, I think it's cool. Douglas Monroe says Leon is overrated in my opinion. He didn't fight Wesker like Chris did and punch boulders. Leon dodges them. Let me just tell you the one last thing I'll tell you on this and we'll move on. They do talk about Leon. They say Leon, the rookie cop from RE2 turned government agent, is familiar yet modern. He seems threatened by the situation and approaches it cautiously. This is another change they've made. It's a more grounded take to the original's fearless, cocky, and superhero-like bravado. But at least for my small taste of the game, the way he interacts with people feels far more grounded. So, you know, I'm in. I'm fucking in. So, Silent Hill. Hang on. Silent Hill comes a couple of days later. And I'm going to bring in a buddy of mine. Let me put on my headphones here because we're going to talk about Silent Hill released a movie trailer for a new movie. It's very early. It was just a bunch of concept art and storyboards, whatever. But they released 4 games that are in production regarding Silent Hill. And I'll tell you something. I'm not going to tell you what. Let me just say this. Between the Resident Evil showcase, and I'm going to put a poll up. Let's put a poll up real quick. Which showcase was better? And I'll tell you what I think afterwards. Which showcase? I'm going to say rules. And I'm going to spell it with a Z like 90s kids did when they were cool. I'll put Res Evil or Silent Hill. Okay, so those are up. Hang on. That's going up now. Hit me up with the poll, and we'll talk about it on the other side of this story. I want to see which showcase you guys thought was the best showcase. Okay, I am going to bring in a pal of mine. Hang on one second. Come on now, Jeff. You don't be so uncouth. I know. Oh, I know. So far, oh, okay. I'm not going to tell you what the poll is. Okay. R.E. Smothers Silent Hill says Kaiden. Oh, man. Okay, Silent Hill is pretty good. And just to be clear, Bill Bone says which one had more potential. No, what I'm saying is which one has you more excited based on what you saw. That's pretty much the best way to say it. All right. One of our great sponsors is a fella who I like to call Tiger Chainsaw. I don't think that's actually his name, though. But I'm going to bring him in, and we're going to chat together, as pals do, about all things Silent Hill. Give me 2 seconds to set this up, and we shall do it. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. There we go. All right. Tiger Chainsaw, if you are on the Discord, I'm going to send you right now a link. You have just been given the link. So we will talk in just a moment to Good Sir Tiger Chainsaw. Why is this coming up? I don't know what that is. Hey, John, thank you, buddy. Welcome to the Diet Soda Soldier, sir. I appreciate you being here. While we're waiting for the tiger to show up, let me give you a smoke of the... fuck it, no. You're too young to smoke, John. You're going to get a kiss from Mickey Mouse. I love you so much, I want to fuck you in there. Come on! Jesus Christ, John. That mouse is coming on to you, baby. Welcome, John. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for your generosity and having some fucking faith in the show. I appreciate it, sir. You're 25. You're still too young to smoke, you son of a bitch. Okay, I'm trying to get this Silent Hill thing up. One moment. And then I will bring in the tiger. As I bring in the tiger. Okay, that's what I'm looking for right there, folks. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. Everybody, what do I call you? Because you're not named Tiger Chainsaw.
You can call me TC. A lot of people do.
I don't want to. Is your actual name TC? What is your name?
My real name is Seth.
Why do they call you TC?
All right, so...
I don't care. Here we go. Tiger Chainsaw. It has a great show, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Death Proof says that's a rando ADHD question. Fuck you, motherfucker. You're wrong. Yeah, you're right. But Tiger Chainsaw, you got a great show over on YouTube, which is focusing on a lot of things. You and I were talking earlier. What I was amazed by was you said it's a retro show. And I'm actually going to be on your show Monday being interviewed. And it's funny because I don't think of myself as someone interviews for retro shows. But lo and behold, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of goddamn sense. So we'll be talking together Monday on your show. But for now, we're going to talk about Silent Hill. We're going to talk about the showcase. What did you think overall? Like, you walked away. Did you see the Resident Evil showcase?
I didn't see the Resident Evil one, but I checked out the Silent Hill.
Okay, so what was your overall takeaway?
I think that if you're a horror fan or a Silent Hill fan, there's something for you from that showcase. Like, you're going to win no matter what, because if you are a fan of the old series, you're a fan of Silent Hill 2, you're getting that remake that everybody wanted. And if you're just a horror fan in general and you're looking for a new place to jump into the franchise, you got 3 potential games coming out with Silent Hill F being the leader. I think that's the one that looks the best. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with new content from Silent Hill.
Why don't we start with Silent Hill 2? Because that was the one I think that everybody kind of had their hopes hanging on, because it's sort of the most beloved one. And the story is that Bloober Team, Konami was taking pitches from lots of people, and Bloober Team shows up and they were real passionate, blah, blah, blah. And I guess that was enough for whatever reason to get them on the hook for this title. And they said, okay, Bloober Team, you guys can make the game. What did you think of the trailer for Silent Hill 2?
I loved it. You know, just seeing that world that you experienced, that game's over 20 years old, and to see it how it is now, I think there's going to be a lot of excitement around exploring that great area again, or that great atmosphere. I'm kind of curious on, do you know if they're going to keep it in that time frame, or are they going to make it more realistic and newer, like in our era? Because
no,
a lot that you can do with, you know, like the radio, cell phones, that type of stuff.
It looks like it's a straight up remake. I mean, if you look at the images, and PlayStation blog has some really beautiful high res images that look better than anything they even showed on the video. But it looks like it's a straight up remake. I gotta say though, I was really underwhelmed by it. I think what I took away from the Silent Hill 2 trailer, and a lot of it is I don't really think Bloober Team Bloober is exceptionally inconsistent. They have made one brilliant horror game, which is Layers of Fear. Everything else has had moments, but it's been eh. And the director of The Medium, and I think also Blair Witch, but certainly The Medium, is the director of this. And so that doesn't fill me with a great deal of hope. But the other thing was Silent Hill 2, to me, has a lot in common with Sonic Frontiers, in that if you strip away the fandom and the love of the brand, and if you were to just look at the Silent Hill 2 trailer remake as a trailer, and you came from outer space or you'd never heard of Silent Hill 2, I think most people, if that was part of a showcase, they would say, oh yeah, and there was that horror thing. Yeah, that kind of looked cool. You know, I mean, it looks very tropey. Now, to be fair, Silent Hill created a lot of the tropes for video games. But that said, though, it doesn't really look all that interesting compared to something like Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil the Rose story on Village Remake that genuinely looks compelling and in the weeds with gameplay when they're talking about it. This just kind of looked like, you know, it's
definitely
plays
a slower paced trailer that they showed off. You know,
I don't mind the pace so much. It just, I mean, let me ask you this. What did you see about it that made you go, these guys understand horror. These guys know how to scare me in a video game. These guys know how to disturb me. Like, was there anything disturbing about it that didn't just feel tropey?
No, I don't think there's anything disturbing. I think that the sound effects are always great when you can pull them off really well in trailers. I think the thing that I'm just so excited about is just that nostalgia high. You know, you see that, it takes you back to that time that you were playing it. I think that's just what I'm excited about. I don't know if it's going to scare me, but I haven't played. Was it The Medium that you said that they?
The Medium was a Xbox semi-launch window exclusive, console exclusive, timed exclusive, and now it's on PlayStation. And they directed that.
Because I have that, I just haven't checked it out yet. But you're saying that they didn't turn out too well.
Well, it's not crap or anything. It's well made. It's got some interesting ideas, but it's just kind of sits there. Same thing with Blair Witch. Blair Witch had some great ideas, and it just kind of sat there. But now what I will say is, I mean, thank God they had some other things to show. I assume there was this one. This is called Townfall. Now, Townfall, I'm very interested in. I'm exceptionally interested in this. But you tell me, though, what did you think of Townfall?
So that's interesting that you were excited about it, because that was the one that I was the least excited about. I see like that the character or the monster come up. Was he holding a sword?
I don't even, I know it. I think this is the one set in is it 60s Japan, or is that, no, that's F. I don't know. I have no idea really what this one's about. This is the one that is pushing into the little radio.
Okay, yeah, there's two of them that I had no idea what was going on. One was Townfall and one was Ascension. And to me, I had way more questions than answers and excitement for those ones. Are those supposed to be like full on games?
Well, okay, so here's what I'll tell you. So here's the reason Townfall has me excited.
Okay.
Townfall, in the same way that I got to shave off a couple of points for Silent Hill, not because of the trailer, but because of who's making it. I'm like, I've been burned so many times by these guys. I'll believe it when I see it. Similarly, these guys get a lot of faith for two reasons. One is Annapurna is producing it. And Annapurna doesn't always release great games, but they're always interesting. They're always really neat and interesting, and they've released some of the best games in the medium over the last 5, 6, 7 years, right? They're kind of like the video game version of Miramax back before Miramax became Disney and back before we knew that Miramax was fucking people in hotel rooms. But they really are interesting and innovative, and I love them. The developer of the game is a group called No Code. And No Code has done, I don't know how familiar everybody is with these games, but they did a wonderful adventure game called Stories Untold, which was very unique and different. And then they did a game called The Observer, which was also a horror game. Both of those are sitting at around 80 on Metacritic. What's fascinating is they're both unique, they're both different. And if you take that mentality and you merge it with Annapurna, and then you merge it with the franchise of Silent Hill, that's why I'm excited. But I agree with you, as a trailer, sure, if you're just going off that and you don't have any information about the pedigree of the people making it, you're like, whatever.
No, that makes perfect sense. You know, judge a dev team on their history and whether they've let you down before. And yeah, I can see the effect of not being too excited by it.
Ascension, right? Now, Ascension is the one with the girl walking and there's all the weird flowers and shit. Is that right?
That's F.
That's F.
Yeah.
F is which is the one that J.J. Abrams is doing? I think that's F. I think that's F. So Ascension, let me make sure. No. Okay, I got it. I'm getting them mixed up. Okay, so let's talk about F first.
Yeah.
F, and I don't know why the trailer, let me just bring the trailer up. Silent Hill F. F had a very cool trailer, but you still don't really know what the gameplay is, right? It's this girl and she's kind of walking and suddenly these tentacles. Yeah, this is the one set in 60s Japan.
Yeah.
These tentacles come out and grab her and she kind of morphs into some tentacle creature. What was your takeaway from this one?
I was interested by it because Silent Hill hasn't done Japan previously, right? They haven't,
Right.
Yeah, so I like that. They're gonna know what they're gonna have that good that horror atmosphere. I really enjoyed the ending of the trailer where her face kind of just melts off.
Yes,
That's what hooked me.
that
That's
was
when
cool.
I was like, okay, this is gonna be. I should give this one a chance. So,
And apparently it's written by a guy who writes video, what are they called? Interactive, not what are those fucking things? Danganronpa. What's the genre? It's like a novel, visual novel. And he also writes manga stuff that's horror based. The weird thing about this is, though, it is done by the team. I want to bring up the end so people can see what you're talking about. That ending really got me as well. It's awesome. Yeah. So here's her face, and then just something happens, and it just peels off, and you're left with like, what the fuck am I looking at? It's super gross, super disturbing. I love it.
Yeah.
But what's weird about this game is it is made by the team that so far has done. Let me find them real quick. It is made by a group called. Oh, my shit's slowing down. I think I've got too much stuff happening. It is made by a team called Neobards, and what's weird is if you go to the Neobards page, it's not like they're a single player action adventure studio. They basically seem to be a support studio. They worked on RE-verse. They worked on Biohazard, Resident Evil 2 and 3, Avengers. They've done a bunch of Resident Evil and DMC like collections, like updated collections, and they've put out one original game. So it's interesting. I wonder if this is going to end up being a multiplayer game, or if it's going to, because that really looks like where a lot of their history and success is. But because all their single player stuff has been stuff that they've just supported. So it's hard to know what it is. The trailer was good. The developer makes me curious. Would you prefer a Silent Hill multiplayer game, or do you think they should never go down that road?
I would not want to see that. I like that. To me, horror is best served when it's psychological, when you're by yourself, when the enemy is stronger than you and you're making your way through the darkness. I don't really see multiplayer being a big aspect of the Silent Hill franchise unless it's a potential co-op, but I would rather
even then I would too, especially after that trailer. Now the one that is most interesting to a lot of people, including me, is this one, Silent Hill Ascension. This is it's kind of a collaboration betwixt J.J. Abrams' company, Konami, a handful of other teams are working on it. Let me just read you while the trailer is running. Yeah. Some of the stuff that's been said about this. This was a Twitter thread. This guy, Aesthetic Gamer Dust Golem, he's known to break a bunch of stories on Silent Hill and stuff. He says, I interviewed one of the people behind Ascension to clarify what it is. He says, in basic, it's a narrative branching choice cloud streaming system experiment that is going to be aired once, which is hard to believe, as a mini-series to tune into. And the community has choices that affect various character relations, fates if they live or die. It almost sounds like that Facebook game I don't know. Very few people played it. It was a Facebook game. Will Wheaton did like a weekly wrap up, and it was like characters that you could follow around the wilderness, and it was almost like a survival game, and you could help the characters and vote characters off. But anyway, digging into the game, Dead by Daylight team is working on it. J.J. Abrams is working on it. Ex Telltale staff are working on it. They say that it sounds like you will do tasks to take care of an avatar, solve puzzles, do survival scenarios to earn influence points that can then be used to vote on community-driven choices. I believe some system similar to what we saw in one of the Walking Dead games that the same team worked on. So I think it's very interesting. I have no idea if it's going to work, but
Big question.
It's what's really strange is what the fuck is happening over at Konami, because Konami's a company that this sounds like the Annapurna game. This sounds like somebody who's going, I think the medium is cool. This is different. This is unique. Let's do something totally off the beaten path and try to change the world. It almost feels like, maybe that was the J.J. Abrams influence. They're like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not going to make a standard bullshit thing. Let's fucking swing for the fences, right? I mean, it sounds cool, right?
It does sound cool, and it's good to see Konami doing something besides pachinko machines. I'm excited that they're getting back into the world of gaming, whether it's the remakes, whether it's new stuff, and whether it's the stuff that you just showed off that's completely off the grid, weird shit. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited. I'm very curious culturally what has happened to that company to cause this shift in a good way. I mean, this is the company that used to be. Their equivalent used to be Capcom. Those were the two best Japanese third-party, if not worldwide third-party developers on the planet. And Konami kind of went away. And they had the whole Kojima issue. I haven't been following their culture. I haven't been following their corporate life. Did the CEO resign? But something's changed. And I think hopefully we will see that change happen throughout all their brands, including new brands. So we will see. As a guy who loves retro games, I'm sure you're hoping they'll do a remake of Russian Attack, especially now that... do you ever play Russian Attack?
Russian Attack? No.
It was called Rush and then Attack.
Oh, Rush and Attack. Okay.
It was dumb. It was a good game in the arcades back in the day. Anyway, speaking of old games, I want to alert people to something you got going on over at your channel real quick. It's very, very cool. So what TC Tiger Chainsaw has done, and again, you really should go over there and check out his show. It's unlike, I would say there's very few YouTube channels like it. It focuses on retro games, but again, retro games don't have to mean the pixels, but in this case it does. He's got all 273 Sega Master System games ever made. Let me put this up on the screen for you while we're talking. This is worth taking a look at. And talk to the people real quick about how you arrived at your 273 best list. How did this come about?
So I actually have my original Sega Master System right here next to me. I'm a big fan. And so what I did was I went back through the archives of all the reviews for all 273 games that were released in the US and in PAL regions. And there's probably 10 to 5 reviews for each one of them. I took the median score for each, and then I ranked all 273 in order from worst to first. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and that's kind of how I ranked them. I give you a little bit of a tidbit of a review in the video, along with actual gameplay, the cover. It was a lot of work, but if you guys are interested in the Sega Master System, which was Sega's first console in North America, definitely give it a look. It's a
you've really got Space Harrier at 122. So, damn, this is going to be interesting to see what your top 10 is. Although I got to tell you, John in the chat says he hasn't played Russian Attack, fake retro fan. I don't know. Them's fighting words, man. I'm gonna jump ahead. I don't want to show people what your top 10 are, but I want to see, and I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm looking at.
So how about as you jump ahead, I would like to tell people about the Tiger Chainsaw show and your big appearance on it. If you don't.
Oh yeah, go while I'm looking at this fucking thing.
All right, so the Tiger Chainsaw show is unlike any other content that's on YouTube right now. It is a mock of a late night 80s, 90s retro talk show. But during the show, I review one single game. And the best part of the show, I'll talk about the gameplay, I'll talk about the plot, I do a comedy sketch as well, and I have a musical act to end the show. But the best part of it is that I have someone that is heavily involved in the game that I'm reviewing. So David is heavily involved in God of War 2, and so he was my guest for that episode. I've had a lot of other big names on there. Matt Bozon is supposed to be on it in season 2, so you guys might be able to see him. I've had Manami Matsume, the Mega Man composer and sound effects. A lot of really cool guests on there. And it's just
I'm going to give you an idea for your next guest, because I just saw your #1 Sega Master System game.
okay.
I know the guy who's the lead designer on that, and he's a pal, and you should talk to him. He's great.
Okay.
Especially given that you've given his name the best Master System game of all time. So
all right.
hit me up later. All right, fellas, check out Tiger Games Chainsaw. You can find his channel at the link tree down below. If you guys like talking more about retro games from time to time, we can have a retro segment where we bring good Sir Tiger on. I was going to ask you one more retro question. What the fuck? Oh, are you going to do this again with Super Nintendo or NES, or are we going to see it with other systems?
So, yep, my next one I'm going to do is the Atari Jaguar.
Why don't you do one that people actually have?
Because the game library is short for that one, so it'll take me less time to do.
Okay, gotcha. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. It's good to talk to you as always, and we'll see you very, very soon. Go over to his channel, check him out on the link tree. We'll see you guys soon.
Right.
Bye, everybody. Well, not everybody. Bye, Chainsaw. All right, and we are going to move back to the core show. But there you go. Check him out, man. Check him out. That's some good people over there. All right. Let me get. I want to say, I don't remember who it was, but in the chat, I saw the very first 2-year God of War member icon pop. And that's good to see, because I was worried there was like a bug or something. I think it was, I don't know who it was, but if let me see. Did I just see it again? It's Benji Martinez. There you go. Look at that. Look at that cute little Kratos icon. Yeah, it's good to see that. Congratulations, buddy. You made it there first. Okay. All right. Now we're going to move on. We have a lot more to talk about, but I want to tell you, what? Why am I looking at these people? This is from one of my favorite movies, directed by the same guy who directed The Adam Project on Netflix, which is pretty good, called This Is Where I Leave You. Now, if you're watching live, we're going to take like a 5-minute break and get back to the show. We're going to talk all about God of War impressions that dropped along with other news stories, plural. However, if you're watching after the fact and you are not a member, this is where I leave you. See, this picture is so photoshopped. It's disgusting. But anyway, great fucking movie. But this is where I leave you. However, the first half of Gabbin' Games will always be free. Everybody can chat. Everybody can call. So thank you for watching. And if you'd like to join the members, go to the link tree below. There's 3 tiers. I might add a 4th tier soon. And sign up. And at any tier, you'll be able to immediately unlock the full version of the stream and watch it to your heart's content over and over. Don't forget, being a member will also let you come to the seance. Be well. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.